For the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we approve the agenda, Huron Valley Heroes and Huron Valley Highlights. So that's just a friendly amendment to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment that I just proposed?
I'll move that we approve the agenda with the change that you proposed.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Member Dodd, seconded by Member Ryan. May I have a roll call, please?
Miss Dodd.
Yes.
Miss Ryan.
Yes.
I am a yes. Miss Grzymkowski.
Yes.
Miss Cotter.
Yes.
Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Prior to recognition, I have a brief statement. As a school board, we appreciate the members of our community who share the public comments during the designated times on our meeting agenda. This is an important opportunity for the Board of Education to hear from the community. However, it is not a time for two-way communication. A regular meeting of the Board of Education is designated and designed for the board to conduct the business of the Huron Valley Schools in open session. In accordance with the Open Meeting Act, comments that require follow-up investigation or communication will be handled by our superintendent or a member of his team. There are two segments in the agenda for public comments, in Section 3 and Section 7, respectively. 15 minutes have been allocated in Section 3 for public comments related to action, voting items, or non-action items if time allows. The Board of Education will allow and allocate more than 15 minutes in Section 3 so that all public comments on action voting items may be heard in Section 3 prior to the board voting on those items. All comments on non-action items will take place during Section 7 of the agenda, if not already heard in Section 3. All speakers wishing to address the board must be present. All individuals will be given an opportunity to speak. Each individual delivering public comments will have 3 minutes to share their communication. Individuals may only speak once and cannot share unused time with another person. A timer will be displayed on the screen so individuals can monitor their time. Once 3 minutes have elapsed, the timer will sound, indicating that public comment has concluded and the microphone will be turned off in preparation for the next speaker. The individual must be present, as I said before, to share public comments. We ask that you share your name, address, and home school district before sharing your comments. Furthermore, we request that you refrain from name-calling or mentioning the names of specific employees, persons, or students within your public comments. Comments must be related to school business and may not include personal attacks unrelated to school business. If you make such comments, the Board of Education president will, to the extent permitted by the First Amendment, interrupt or end your comment time. If you plan to share public comments, please complete the form in the back of the room. Actually, it's in the front of the room now. And give to Ms. Cadell, seating all the way to my left, and she just raised her hand, right? So thank you for your professionalism and partnership. I do have one public comment this time. If you do have any public comments, please pass them up to Ms. Cadell. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Barb, I believe, as it relates to recognition. And the first recognition is Huron Valley Heroes.
Good evening. It is my honor to introduce someone who has not only made a significant impact within our community, but has also represented our country on one of the greatest stages in the world, the Olympic Games. Today, we are here to celebrate and recognize the achievements of one of our very own, Lakeland alumni, Grace Stark. Her journey from a student here at Lakeland to becoming an elite athlete is not only a source of pride for our school district, but an inspiration to us all. So if you would please join me in welcoming Grace, along with Amy Grzymkowski up here. We can give Grace a little token of appreciation. Wherever you want. Whatever, as long as if you're going to say something, we'll
I will be brief. Grace speaks for herself. She has, I think, the top 8 times in the state for the 100-meter hurdles when she was running for Huron Valley at White Lake, Lakeland. She was a phenom in the SEC. She had just a career-ending injury that didn't end her career. In fact, she not only had this career-ending injury, but she bounced back and went to the Olympics. That is what we call grit. That is what we call tenacity, and that is inspirational in a way that, quite frankly, I can't even begin to fathom. 5th in the Olympics. I know it wasn't what you wanted, but I don't think that's the last time we see her at the Olympics. So proud of you, Grace. We have this wonderful presentation for you, and we also are going to give you this coin. This coin is really, it's a meaningful coin. Not everybody gets this. I do not have a coin. Just, putting that out there. But this coin is really representative of who Huron Valley is and how you inspire. Our goal is to make you guys the very best that you can be. You were already the best when you got here. We just, we're cheering you along. But very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Please tell us about this amazing journey you were on.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate this. I didn't know this exactly was going to happen, so it was a nice surprise, and thank you, Mrs. Grisomkowski. I went to school with a couple of her children, and I've known her for a long time, so it was nice to be presented by this award from her, and Mr. Kababik, Coach Kababik, being with me today. He's my coach throughout high school, and he's been a coach for a very long time here and has definitely made the track program what it is. The Olympics was amazing. I'm so thankful for all the support from White Lake. I know Mr. Head made a bunch of signs, and I really appreciated that. I just was scrolling on Facebook one day, and I pop in and out, and I just saw this poster, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then my parents told me that we had the opportunity to buy a bunch of these signs, and I just thought it was so amazing, and I appreciated it so much. So thank you all for being so supportive.
Yes, let's give her a round of applause. We do want a picture of Grace with the board, but first I want to open it up for anybody on the board that would like to say something or ask her
Yes.
questions.
Comments? Anyone have any comments? Yes, Jacob.
I've never talked to somebody who was at the Olympics, so hi. Well done.
Thank you.
Lindsay, you look like
Thank
you're ready
you.
to say something.
No, I'm just in awe, and I welcome Grace, and certainly is an example for many students here at Huron Valley. So thank you for all you've done for us, too.
Thank you.
I will say something on behalf of the rest of the board and our Huron Valley community. You are amazing. You brought this community together in a way that I have never seen it before. I saw signs urging you to do your very best, which you did, in representing us, representing this entire community. There were signs all over the place urging you and recognizing you for what you are doing, what you were doing over in Paris. In fact, I was outside the district and I saw signs urging you on. But truly, the type of person you are is what makes you so special,
Thank you.
okay? It's more than how fast you can run. It's more than your athletic abilities, which are enormous. It's the type of person you are. Many of us sitting here, many of people in the community didn't recognize that you flew in and you came to the last football game over at Lakeland.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard, unfortunately, I was in the parade, but I didn't go to the game because I was at the Tiger game. All right? All right? But at the same time, I heard that you spent an enormous amount of time signing autographs, recognizing young people, and the positive effect that you will have on people in this community, you have no idea. All
Thank
right?
you.
And you're special. And you're
Thank
special
you.
because of the type of person you are. Now, At the same time, my goodness, to be able to run as fast as you can and jump over those hurdles as quickly as you can is absolutely amazing. And when you say you ended up in 5th place, I think it was 1/10 of a second? Is
Yeah.
that right? Between first place and 5th place?
It
1/10
was
of a
It was
second?
like maybe 3 or 4. It was really close.
It was very close. And I tell you what, I personally lost some sleep because the time change was a little bit different.
Thank you.
But I had to set my alarm to make certain that I got up
Thank
to
you.
cheer you on. So I just want to, on behalf of the rest of the board, just recognize you as a person that we are so proud of, because you are that type of person that we take a lot of pride in, because
you.
you are a quality individual. So I want to say thank you on behalf of the board, on behalf of Lakeland High School, and on behalf of the Huron Valley School District community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She's gonna want you to go. Look at her. She's gonna want you to go. I told you.
We tried to be cute, but it didn't work.
Thanks, Grace. Thank you.
And as you can tell, our board meeting is a little more populated this evening, and that's because we also want to recognize and give a special welcome to all of our new educators across the Huron Valley School District. If Mr. Martin Lindberg and Jennifer Bjorkman can come up here now, and we can introduce them.
Good evening, members of the board, staff, including our mentors here this evening, and our elementary, middle school, and high school principals are also in attendance. And thank you to the students who are here and our community. We are excited to introduce the newest members of our Huron Valley Schools family. These educators bring a fresh energy, passion, and commitment to student success, and we are very excited to welcome them to our district. We want to give you a little bit of info about our new educator program before we introduce them. So to ensure that our new educators feel supported and prepared for the roles, we have implemented a robust new educator program. This includes 2 intensive days over the summer, and then also throughout the school year, our new educators continue to receive support through monthly or frequent meetings throughout the year. So additionally, each new educator is paired with a mentor who is an experienced teacher who serves as a guide and support system throughout their first year, helping them navigate the challenges and opportunities that come with teaching, and then they hang on for a couple more years too. Our mentors can support our new teachers and educators up to 3 years. We also have some leaders who support our new educator team. We have Ellie Nigro, who is in the doorway. She's a Johnson Elementary educator. Thank you, Ellie. Jennifer Hiddle from Milford High School is the support person for our secondary teachers and educators. And she's in the hallway. And then also Jennifer Hollander. I think Jennifer's in here. Jennifer, as part of her role, leads and facilitates our new teacher education program. So she does a wonderful job helping to support our new educators throughout the district. So we're excited about the contributions these new educators are going to make to our schools and for our students, so we'd like to welcome them here. So I'm going to start by introducing our elementary educators and our Apollo educators, and then Martin Lindberg will introduce our secondary educators. All right, thank you. Well, first we have Michelle Reber, and Michelle is at Oxbow and Highland, and she is working as a tech integrator for us, and she has been in education for 20 years. We have Chris Green also joining the Oxbow family in fourth grade, and he has 14 years of experience. Heather Goodspeed is at Country Oaks, and she is a kindergarten teacher, and she has been teaching for 14 years. So as you can see, lots of experience with our new educators. Thank you. Thomas Petradine is at Lakewood Elementary. He is a classroom teacher for 5th grade, and Thomas has 13 years of experience. And we have Mary Jo Shoup. Mary Jo is at Kurtz Elementary as a 1st grade teacher, and Mary Jo comes to us with 35 years of experience. And we have Darian Yee. Darian is at Kurtz and Country Oaks. She is a resource room teacher, and this is Darian's 1st year teaching. We have Mary Gaber, also from Country Oaks, and she is also a resource room teacher, and she's had 20 years experience in special education. And Tracy Little. Tracy is at Johnson and at Lakewood Elementary, and she is an English language teacher for our EL students, and she has 20 years of education experience. And we have Miss Amy Hoover. Amy is a social worker at Johnson Elementary and White Lake Middle School, and Amy comes to us with 6 years of experience. And we have Taylor Zioko, and Taylor comes to us from Lakewood, and she's teaching kindergarten, and Taylor has been teaching for 4 years. Olivia Pertinen is at Lakewood and Highland Elementary, and she is a resource room teacher, and this is her 1st year teaching. Addison Letts is also at Highland Elementary, teaching 1st grade, and this is her 1st year teaching. Alyssa Skeen is also from Highland Elementary, and she is a special education teacher with 3 years of experience. Bianca Mullins. Bianca comes to us from Highland Elementary. She's a 3rd grade teacher, and she has 20 years teaching experience. Thank you. Sally Hartz. Sally is the school social worker at Highland Elementary, and Sally comes to us with 16 years of experience. Okay. And we're going to give this group a round of applause, and then they're going to head out, and we know you guys will wait for your picture out there, and the board will come out and say thank you as well. So thank you so much. We're so excited to have all of our new educators. There's a whole bunch more. We're excited to see the wealth of experience that our new educators come with, so it's nice to have a mix of new educators and experienced educators. Do I have to line up this? Line up this right here. Okay. Thank you. Sarah Manning. Sarah is at Highland Elementary and at Kurtz, and Sarah is a music teacher with 24 years experience. Thank you. We have Anne Demure. Anne is at Lakewood Elementary. She's a 3rd grade teacher, and Anne has 17 years of previous experience. Thank you. Elza Frid is at Spring Mills Elementary, and she is our TC resource room. Elza Frid Puzzi, right? Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot the last name there, so thank you. Kat Leetza is at at Spring Mills Elementary. She is a social worker with 6 years of experience. Thank you. Andrea Latchaw is at Spring Mills Elementary, and she is an ASD teacher and she has 20 years experience. We have Michael Shanks. Michael is Shank. I'm sorry, one Shank. Michael Shank at Country Oaks Elementary, and Michael is an art teacher with 23 years experience. Thank you. Shannon Finnegan. Shannon is from Country Oaks Elementary. She is teaching 5th grade. It's her first year in Huron Valley, but her 9th year of teaching. Thank you. Brooke Curtis is at Country Oaks and teaching 1st grade, and it is Brooke's first year teaching. Thank you. Kelly Bowsey is the school social worker at Heritage Elementary, and this is her first year as a social worker. Thank you. Emily Stislicki is from Apollo, and she is a GSRP teacher. And Emily, is this your first year? And it's her first year. Thank you. Michelle Baker is also at Apollo Center, and she is a speech and language pathologist, and this is her 24th year as an SLP. Thank you. And Drew Zorensky is at Johnson Elementary, and Drew is teaching 1st grade, and she has 10 years of experience. And Jennifer Bullard. Jennifer is at Johnson Elementary, and she is teaching junior kindergarten, and Jennifer has 4 years of teaching experience. Thank you. And Angel Sutter is also at Johnson Elementary, and she is a music teacher, and it is Angel's first year. Thank you. And this is Elizabeth Hojanacki. Elizabeth is at Johnson Elementary teaching 2nd grade, and it is Elizabeth's first year teaching. Thank you. Samantha Erickson is also from Johnson Elementary, and she is a 3rd grade teacher, and it is also her first year teaching. Thank you. Emily Lowe's is from Spring Mills Elementary, and she is a 4th grade teacher, and it is her first year teaching. Thank you. And Caroline Badrak is at Spring Mills Elementary. She is a kindergarten teacher, and it is her first year teaching. And Jacqueline Lampers. Jacqueline is at Spring Mills teaching 3rd grade, and it is her first year teaching. And Autumn Steinman is at Spring Mills Elementary, and she is teaching 3rd grade, and it is her 2nd year of teaching. She has 2 years of experience. Okay. Again, we'll give a big round of applause for this group, and then we'll have you head out. Yes, I did. Yeah.
All right, thank you. You guys can head out. Thank you so much.
Yep,
Yep.
stick around for the picture. Don't forget.
So we had a lot of elementary. I won the coin flip. I'm doing secondary, much smaller group. So. So we will start with our secondary group. There you go. Come on over. Yep. Thanks. So first we have Jennifer Humphreys. Jennifer is a school social worker at Muir Middle School, and she has been teaching for 16 years. Next up, we have Anthony Flaveris. Anthony is at Oak Valley Middle School. He's our new school counselor there, and he has been teaching for 15 years as well. Next, we have Allison Levick. Allison is at Oak Valley and White Lake Middle Schools. She's the speech language pathologist, and she has been teaching for 12 years. And we have Emily Van Egan. Emily is at Muir Middle School. She is teaching 7th and 8th grade social studies, and this is her 13th year of teaching. We have Austin Booms. Austin is at White Lake Middle School. He's a social studies teacher there, and he's been teaching for 4 years. Sarah Cartwright. Sarah is also at White Lake Middle School. She is teaching science and digital technology, and she has been teaching for 12 years. We have Amanda Boboltz. Amanda is a German teacher at Milford and Lakeland High Schools, and she has been teaching for 7 years. Laura Drahozel. Laura is at Oak Valley Middle School. She is teaching art there. She has been a longtime guest teacher in Huron Valley Schools, 26 years, and this is her first year as a teacher. Rachel Beether. Rachel is at Oak Valley Middle School. Rachel is a 7th and 8th grade ELA teacher, and this is her first year teaching. I told you it was a much smaller group of secondary. So how about one last round of applause for this group? So thanks, secondary. You can head out, and we're going to take that picture out in the atrium in a minute, but thank you so much.
Anyone on the board like to make any comments?
Is that it?
That is it, yeah, we just want if you can take a brief
Yep.
recess and we
What-
go out.
What we're
and get
gonna
a
do is
picture.
take a brief recess. Board's gonna go out in the hall, take pictures. All of our brand-new teachers and administrators are here. You have a busy day tomorrow, so you can stay if you'd like, but you're excused absence. With that, we'll go in a short recess. President, I just have a couple of things since the last Board of Education meeting on September 16th. First of all, I want to thank the fact that in November we have a election as it relates to the Board of Education. We have 4 candidates. First of all, I would like, on behalf of the rest of the board, thank each of those candidates for their interest in Huron Valley Schools and the commitment that they're striving to make as being a member of the Board of Education. Since the last board meeting, one of the things that we wanted to do, we recognize that when there's a presidential election, the ballot is quite lengthy, and since this is a nonpartisan ballot issue as it relates to being a member of the Board of Education, we really strive to provide that information as it relates to who those candidates are. And in the past, the district has provided a forum for candidates to answer any questions that they might have. We as a district have done that, along with back in the day when we had print media. They would host, we would have the Optimist Club, we had Spinalcom, we'd have Milford Times. Unfortunately, no one stepped up, so I really felt as a president that it was important for us to at least provide a forum so that our candidates could answer some questions. And who best to ask those questions but our students? And what we did was provide an opportunity for 5 of our students to ask questions to the 4 candidates. Those 5 questions, 3 were focused in a broad sense as it relates to academics, from our student leadership that's part of our teaching, learning, and technology. And then because we are a AAA school district and we take a lot of pride in that, we also invited a representative from athletics and also from the arts to ask questions. What we originally wanted to do was provide this forum opportunity for the 4 candidates, but because of illnesses and because of schedules, it became very difficult. So what we did, and it was originally scheduled on the 24th, we had our student leaders come in and we recorded their questions. And at that point in time, we then passed them out via email to the 4 candidates so that they could respond. And they had an opportunity to respond in a variety of ways. They could do come in and do something in our studio or tape it live if they showed up on the 24th. They could do it using technology with their camera on their phones, or they could do audio where they could just record take the questions and answer them without video but with audio, or they could answer the questions and we would read them verbatim. So we have received responses to those questions, and I want to thank all 4 candidates for doing that, because it really allows us to provide that information so that we have a well-informed community as it relates to important topics that face us as a school district. So I just wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed. This information we've gathered it. We're going through an editing process, and you'll see that out on HVS TV. One of the things that we wanted to do was make certain that it was nonpartisan, that everyone had a fair opportunity to answer those questions in an impartial fashion. One of the missions of HVS TV is really to inform our community as it relates to topics such as board candidacy, similar to what we do with bond issues or sinking funds or any of those types of things that are going on. So it's informational only. So we're going to have that broadcasted, correct Barb, out on HVS TV and a variety of other forums so that our community can have the opportunity to get to know those 4 candidates a little bit better. At the same time, I do want to say thank you to our board. On, I believe it was, yes, October 1st, we spent 4 hours together in a board study session. That board study session immediately went to closed session because there was a number of things that needed to be discussed as it relates to under closed session with attorney-client privilege, and that was one of the okay items that we could go into closed session. From that, we went to closed session, spent a considerable amount of time in closed session, and then came out of closed session and had a discussion regarding our strategic plan 2.0, and was led by Dr. Salah. The third item that I do want to bring up is something that is very unique to Huron Valley Schools and very unique to the Huron Valley Board of Education. And in fact, I know I've had an opportunity to speak in front of a number of state organizations along with Dr. Salah, and it's brought forth a lot of interest. We have a community forum, and that's a Board of Education community forum, where it's really an opportunity for our Board of Education to give the community an opportunity to hear from you in a one-to-one type environment and have face-to-face conversations with your Board of Education. As I said, at board meetings, we have 3 minutes of public comments. I turn it over to Dr. Salah, but this is really an opportunity for our community to have face-to-face, one-on-one conversations with us. We'll be hosting a 2-night community forum beginning next Monday, October 14th, and next Tuesday, October 15th. As I said, the one on Monday will be at Heritage Elementary, and the one on Tuesday will be at Lakewood Elementary. Both will be held in the cafeteria from 6 o'clock to 7:30 each of those evenings. Please, we invite each and every one of you to come and have an opportunity to have communication and have sit down and talk one-on-one at a time, face-to-face with each of our board members individually regarding Waterford School District matters. Waterford School District matters, right? Yeah, Huron Valley School District matters, excuse me. I can't get rid of that, those 42 years, can I? I'm sorry, but it's Huron Valley School, obviously, and matters of interest. And we look forward to visiting with you. On the 14th, Amy Grzynkowski will be in attendance, Denise Pastana, Jacob Dimmick, and myself. And on the 15th, Lakeland would be Denise Pastana, Laura Dodd, Michelle Ryan, and myself. So we welcome your input, and we welcome the opportunity to have face-to-face conversations to discuss Huron Valley issues. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, I do not believe we have any other school presentations, correct?
That's
All right.
correct.
I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our AP Gov students that are diligently here in the audience, and I applaud your efforts to get extra credit and get a picture with me. So if there's anybody left that needs extra credit, just let me know and we'll make sure we get that taken care of. I have just a couple quick items. One, just, thank you to all of our new teachers that were able to make it today. As you can see, those of you who are in the audience, those of you who are watching at home, Huron Valley Schools is a destination school district. It was so nice to hear the depth of experience that many of those folks brought to the table. And, our community benefits from that. Our students benefit from that experience. And you don't just attract people away from other school districts with 9, 10, 15, 20 years experience unless your school district has a reputation as being a destination district. So I feel very fortunate that we were able to attract some of the high quality talent that we've brought to the district, and I know that our students will benefit as a result of that. So that was my first item. My second item this evening, I've addressed this several times with the community through a multitude of communications, and I would be remiss if I didn't just take a couple minutes and speak from the board table this evening regarding what we have been sort of navigating as a school district this year as it relates to rumors, speculation, and what we call false safety threats. It's like chasing a ghost. You can't find where so many of these, the origins of these threats, where they come from on social media, but it is incredibly disruptive to the school environment. And it's resulted in, since the beginning of the school year, 3 letters from me to our parents asking for support to speak with children regarding the importance of their words in person as well as through social media. I can't underscore enough how important of a topic this is. when a student makes a false threat, even if it's a hint of a threat, it creates an extraordinary disruption to the school environment. It creates fear. And in instances where we have been able to determine who issued the threat or even a repost of a false threat, it has resulted in some pretty severe discipline for students. And so for our students that are out there and for our parents that are watching, please have a conversation with your child. I do not want to see literally the life course of a student changed because they were joking around and posted something on social media that they shouldn't post. And I will just tell you, as superintendent, I do not have the luxury of saying it was just a joke. I don't have the luxury of saying this one's real, that one's not. And so we take literally every single threat seriously. So when I'm getting calls at midnight from OK to Say, and I'm not exaggerating, midnight is oftentimes when Ms. Rothler and I get these calls, and we're on the phone with the Oakland County Sheriff. And the Oakland County Sheriff is coming to your house, and they're knocking on the door, and they're having conversations with a parent and with a child. And in some instances, it results in somebody going to the police station in handcuffs. And so I just can't emphasize how important it is that instead of reposting something, report it. So report, do not repost. That is the key message that I really want to get across to our students. You can report to a parent who can contact law enforcement. You can report to an adult. You can report to OK to Say. You can call the building administration. You can email hvs@communications.org and just report it via email. You can contact the administration offices. Last week, I posted a video on social media. It's already had 1,100 views. So we're getting the word out, and I would just ask that you help us in getting that word out. These threats are extraordinarily disruptive. We will take them all very seriously, and because we take them seriously, they could result in some pretty significant discipline for our students. So please, please, please report and do not repost. That's all I have this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Student leadership?
So before Alana comes up, we had talked about the candidate forum and the questions that the students asked. So I thought I'd just go over the questions that they asked and let you know who asked them, so everybody would be aware when they see it posted. So Alana Banyer, she's from Milford High School. Her question was, do you have any specific changes you would want to make in the curriculum of our district? If so, why? We had Jake Verbick from Lakeland. He said, what do you believe HVS is doing well, and what do you believe needs improvement? Liana Yen is from the IA West. She asked, what are the top 3 priority issues facing HVS, and how would you address them if elected? Sekan Yusin, he's also from the IA West. He was from the athletic department, or he was the athletic representative. He said, how can the Board of Education and its members help promote all HVS athletic teams within the community and implement ways to recognize their achievements? And Ayla Campbell, she was from Milford High School, and she represented the arts, performing arts, all of the arts. And her question was, how would you work to support co-curricular and extracurricular activities, both with the students and the staff? And personally, I just thought that they were great questions that all of these students asked, very thoughtful. And I want to say once again, thank you for doing that. I know you guys are busy, so I appreciate it. So now I will introduce Alana from Milford High School, and she's going to tell you what's been going on at Milford High School.
Thank you.
Hi, once again, my name is Alana Benier, and I am the student body representative of Milford High School. And for us, next week is our homecoming, which is really exciting for us. We just elected our Grand Marshal to be Richard Kynest, as he just recently retired from teaching at our school. So I find that to be really exciting stuff. There's been a lot of construction over the last 3 years at our school, and I think recently it's starting to finally slow down a bit. I haven't had to switch any classrooms because of construction being in one, which is really nice from a student point of view. Our stairs just got redone, which I know doesn't seem exciting, but for us as students, we're like, finally, we have good stairs. Obviously, we have football, but I want to mention that our boys soccer team has either gone undefeated or tied every single game so far, and they are one of 2 teams in the entire state of Michigan to do so, which I think is really impressive. We have our NHS induction night, October 23rd. I believe there are about 40 new representatives being added, so that's really exciting for us. And that's really much it. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Yes, Lindsay.
I really don't have a question, but I do want to thank you and some of our other students that sit with us on our teaching and learning and technology committee. It was important when we got the questions from our students, the impact that the students have on the work that we can do as a board. So appreciate your input. And again, thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Okay. Much appreciated. Next, association comments. Jennifer?
Good evening. How wonderful was it earlier in the evening when we welcomed all of our new Huron Valley educators. It makes me so happy to see their excitement and their energy and know that they bring this each day to our district and their individual schools. As you saw and heard, we have 54 new educators this year. They come to us with a vast amount of experience, both in the schools and out, and the majority of them have had many, many years working in the schools prior to landing in the Valley. I've heard from a lot of them about their reason for choosing Huron Valley. Of course, with 54 educators, there's a variety of reasons, but there are a few common themes. Some of them live in our school district boundaries. They have their own children who attend our schools and are excited to work now in the community where they live and shorten their commute. Many of our new educators heard about the positive reputation of our district from family and friends and wanted to be part of it. For others, it was during the interview when they felt an instant connection. Amy Stezlicki, one of our new Great Start Readiness teachers at Apollo, states that she came to Huron Valley because everyone during her interview and orientation was so helpful and friendly. Our new hires, of course, are in this career because of the students. Even in 4 short weeks, they've had many heartwarming and exciting interactions with their students in school. Many of them told me and talked about working to build strong relationships with students and getting to know their unique personalities. Our new social workers are especially already making strong connections and helping our students through the conflicts that arise with their peers. Our new educators love the enthusiasm of their students, even our youngest ones. Jennifer Bullard, our junior kindergarten teacher at Johnson, noticed that her students are already demonstrating independence when they rotate through their centers, and her heart is so happy when they exclaim, "Look, I'm a bucket filler," as they were helping each other. Caring for our students' emotional well-being is important to Jennifer and our new educators. We all chose this profession to make a difference in the lives of our students, but we also come to work each day because of the connections and the support we get from our colleagues. Laughing in the lounge during lunch does wonders to help us get through the day. As you heard, we have mentors for each of these new hires, and our mentors provide our new educators with the guidance they need to learn the Huron Valley way. Many of our new hires expressed how grateful they are to have the support of their mentors, administrators, and professional learning communities. Michael Schenk, Country Oaks art teacher, stated, and I quote, The staff is genuinely interested in my welfare and success as a colleague. I've received so much support to get me through the year. As I've traveled the district this fall, not only do I hear from our new educators, but our current educators and administrators are truly grateful for their new colleagues. I hear about their enthusiasm, expertise, and commitment that these 54 new educators have brought to us. Emily Van Engen, middle school social studies teacher, wraps up everyone's thinking as she said, and I quote, "I was welcomed to the family over and over and over again when I was hired. This district really is a family, and I'm proud to be a member of the family." We are also so proud to welcome all of them to the Huron Valley family, and we look forward to so many years together supporting our students, families, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board correspondence. Secretary Pestana.
Nothing this evening.
Treasurer's report.
None this evening.
Nothing? All right, we'll go down to reports from board committees. The first is the Executive Committee. The Executive Committee met on October 1st at 1 o'clock in the Huron Valley School Administration offices. The meeting was called to order. Present were myself, along with Member Dodd, Member Pestana, and Dr. Salah. There were no public comments. The regular agendas, we had a discussion as it related to tonight's agenda. School safety and security, Dr. Salah reviewed the district. The fact that we've had a number of rumors, misinformation, speculation circulating on social media that you've already talked about today. Oakland County School Board Association proposed bylaw changes. I reviewed the proposed bylaw changes from Oakland Schools, and the topic is under new business tonight. Review of the board study session. Dr. Salah shared the agenda for the board study session that was going to be held that night at 4 o'clock. And also he reviewed the updated timeline for the RFP regarding architectural construction management and technology work for the 2024 bond issue. And the meeting was called to, actually the meeting was called to order and was adjourned. Don't have exactly how long we met, but we probably met a couple hours, a while. And the next meeting is October 15th at 1 o'clock. So with that, we'll go to TLT.
TLT met on September 17th at the Administration Building. The meeting was called to order at 4:06. Present were myself, Ms. Cotter, Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Tavernier, Dr. Salah, Mr. Lindberg, Ms. Bjorkman, Dr. Nemeth, Mr. Endicott, and then our student leaders, Alana, Jake, Leanna, and Michael. There was no public comment. We had no unfinished business. New business was the AP Economics Resource. So the AP Economics Resource first edition was last purchased in 2011 and is due for renewal. A committee consisting of teachers from Milford and Lakeland, along with TLT, reviewed the College Board frameworks for the course and available materials. The fourth and latest edition of the current text best aligns to the framework in our current course sequence and is recommended for purchase. The committee reviewed Board Policy 2510 and supported this recommendation to be added to new business at a future regular meeting. Standing agenda items, we talked about strategic plan updates. This year, in alignment with Goal 4 of the strategic plan, Dr. Julie McDaniel Muldoon, Safety and Wellbeing Consultant from Oakland Schools, will be working with our administrative team with a focus on the latest research in neuroscience of trauma on our school communities and strategies for managing its impact on teaching and learning. TLT has scheduled 5 90-minute sessions as part of our focus for them this year. Mr. Wiseman inquired about plans for the gifted and talented programming this year. Dr. Nemeth shared district will continue the programming launched last year at the elementary, and we're going to expand activities to the middle school this year. We talked about safety and security updates. Mr. Endicott shared that cybersecurity training modules have been sent to all staff. The modules are in total approximately 24 minutes in length, and staff will be required to complete these within 30 days. He also reported overall positive feedback to this training. Under student leadership, Alana, Leanna, Jake, and Michael each reported on back-to-school activities and overall a great start to the new school year. A schedule was determined for student leaders to report to the Board of Education at future meetings, and Alana got to go first. We had no other, and we adjourned at 4:52. Our next meeting will be October 22nd at 4 p.m.
Thank you very much. Finance and Operations?
Finance and Operations met on Wednesday, October 2nd at 8:03 at the admin building. Present were Mr. Wiseman, Ms. Ryan, myself, Dr. Salah, Mr. Van Gotham, Mr. Reby, and Ms. Mariskin. We had 2 members of the public come and speak. The first was Dan Gilmer, and he spoke about the concerns of the general economy and plans for the 2024 bond money. And then Brenda Preska spoke about the community perception of the 2024 bond money, and she thanked the committee for the open line of communication. We reviewed the minutes. We looked at our regular agenda. We did not have any consent agenda items for this evening. We reviewed the unfinished business that's being brought this evening, which included the water line agreement with Highland Township, which we will discuss further as we get to the vote. We also looked at new business, which included the Food and Nutrition Services equipment replacement purchase. The committee reviewed the proposal from Stafford Smith dated April 23rd for double stacked ovens at Milford High School and Lakeland High School, and a 6-burner range at the White Lake Middle School in the amount of $34,755 plus a 12% contingency of $4,170.60 for a total of $38,925.60. These equipment items are replacing unusable equipment and include delivery, full installation, removal, and disposal of all packaging, disconnecting, and removing existing equipment. The ovens will be purchased through the More Cooperative, a cooperative managed by MAC Consortium, and the administration is recommending that the board review the proposal from Stafford Smith at this evening's board meeting, and will request approval on the October 21st board meeting. This project is being funded from our food service excess fund balance that started to accumulate during 2020. Food and Nutrition Services digital menu display purchase. The committee reviewed the proposal from the Toshiba Illumina Digital Signage Solutions dated July 3rd of 2024 for a digital food menu at Milford High School and Lakeland High School in the amount of $24,378 plus an allowance for $6,000 for electrical and technical connections, as well as our traditional 12% contingency for a total of $34,023. Digital menu display signs may be updated daily and visible in the cafeterias and the school hallways. These signs will be purchased from our Huron Valley Cooperative in partnership with MAC Service Corp. The administration is recommending the board review the proposal from Toshiba on this evening's board meeting, and will request approval at the October 21st board meeting. Again, this project is funded from the food service excess fund balance. In addition, we will be looking at the Muir Middle School temperature controls purchase. The committee discussed Muir Middle School challenges with their temperature controls, which currently operate on a Train platform for their control system. We received a quote from Train in the amount of $40,817.38, plus a 12% contingency of $4,898.09, for a total of $15.47 to update the controllers and modules so that the system can run efficiently. This will also allow the district to better support the building and monitor controls in an effective and efficient manner. This is a sole source quote, as the Train product is something that we are upgrading. The controls that have been upgraded and enhanced throughout the district are not sole sourced and were bid out as part of our construction bid packs. It's recommended that the Board of Education review their proposals from Train at this evening's board meeting and will request approval at the October 21st board meeting. This project will be funded from the 2019 Building Site Sinking Fund. Safety and security updates. Dr. Salah informed the committee that there has been a Constant communication with OK to Say tips. Michigan State Police confirmed that these threats are not credible and have been occurring statewide. This has been all-consuming this year for our safety and security team. In addition, we discussed the easement agreement at Harbor High School with Laurel Tree Limited and White Lake Township. Mr. Van Gotham informed the committee that we're waiting on an updated easement agreement for the northeast corner of Harbor High School Brooks Center property. Once received, we will bring it back to the Finance and Operations Committee and then perhaps to the board. Future discussion items. Mr. Van Gotham shared an updated timeline for the White Lake Middle School and leisure pools redevelopment. The bond service provider bid openings will take place on Wednesday, October 9th. There are 75 questions answered from the RFPs and posted to BidNet Direct and Sigma's website. Mr. Wiseman notified the committee that Oakland County has a bylaw change exception that he will be communicating with everyone. Mac Service Corp will be joining us in future F&O committees, meeting to speak on our partnership and the benefits that have resulted from it. Our meeting adjourned at 9:35 a.m. Our next meeting is on October 16th at 8 a.m., and I hope that you can join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Communications, Marketing, and Legislative Committee.
Yes, our last meeting, I'm hot. Our last meeting was on September 17th, 2024 at the Administration Building, called to order at 2:33. Present with myself, Mr. Wiseman, Ms. Pastana, Ms. Rothler, Dr. Salah, and Ms. Willis. There was no public comment. You're going to miss the best part. In our regular agenda, we talked about letterhead. Gosh, I wonder why they're leaving. Anyway, we talked about letterhead and about making sure that we have some consistency across the district. We also talked about the HVS logo, copyright of the logo, and making sure we have a preferred vendors list for use of that stuff. We discussed opening day and also back to school, specifically the new technology used by the transportation department and rolled out at the very beginning of this school year. Next, we talked about Lakeland's 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Lakeland. The committee discussed the plans to celebrate the 50th anniversary. A committee has been formed for the event, and they plan to do something during the Hall of Fame game in February. It is also Lakewood Elementary School's 50th anniversary. Communications is going to look into how they plan to celebrate. Next, we talked about the strategic plan. Committee reviewed the marketing and communications section of the Huron Valley School strategic plan. Committee looked at what communications have completed and if there's anything that we still need to work on. Next, as always, we talked about safety and security. Communications let the committee know that run, hide, fight, and first aid training has been scheduled district-wide. Also, surveillance signs have been posted on the property at every building and entryway. The committee also discussed safety funding. Next, we discussed legislative communication. Committee discussed the latest from the state level. Senate Bill 911 passed the Senate, and there has been more movement on that since. Other, we discussed redistricting. Committee discussed redistricting and the plan for communication when the time comes. Also, circulation lists. The committee discussed creating circulation lists of places in the community where we can share HVS information, i.e. strategic plan books, junior kindergarten flyers, etc. We adjourned at 3:54 p.m. Next meeting is tomorrow, October 8th at 2:30 p.m. at the Administration Building. Heather's in there right now. Are you changing something? No? Okay. Make sure I didn't have the date or time wrong. But tomorrow,
Right.
2:30.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Next on the agenda is public comment. I do have two. One is indicated as a Section 5 under unfinished business, so I'll take that first, and then the other is something that is not an agenda item, but I will take both of those since I only have two within Section 3. So first I'll start with Janine. Over here, please. State your name, address, and school district, if you would, please.
Hi. Hello, I'm Janine Rakowski, 4520 Stony Acres Lane, Highland, Michigan, and Huron Valley Schools. I have written 2 letters to each of the board members recently. Today you are discussing Title IX. I love our school district, and I don't want another school to close. We need to put an end to the indoctrination of our youth. I want you to protect our children. You have the ability to make a difference, and I hope you make the right choice today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Joseph. I'm not going to attempt the pronunciation of your last name.
Hard to spell, easy to deal with. Huron.
Oh, okay. Couldn't have said it any better. A few times.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. As you can tell, I'm an old guy, and like most seniors, I'm house rich but cash poor. So when my property tax bill came in July, I was a bit overwhelmed by the size of the debt for Huron Valley schools. The school debt represents 35.09%, and for me, $2,400, like I said, house rich, of the tax bill. So I'd like you to help me understand the tax bill a little bit better. If you could provide me the 24-25 interest expense, cash and accruals for this year and the next 5 years, as well as a bond amortization schedule, principal, interest rate, that kind of thing, and anything else that would help an old bean counter like me understand what's going on with the school debt. In addition, I'd like to see what the projection is for pupils for 2024 for the next 5 years. Now, having said that, the next big item on the tax bill, was the intermediate school district. And try as I might, I have a hard time figuring out what they provide. That was a little over 14% of my tax bill. So 50% of my tax bill is tied to schools, debt, and the intermediate school district. So I'd like the superintendent or the board or somebody to give me the top 10 items that the intermediate school district is providing to the Huron Valley schools and what the monetary value of that is, you know, in terms of dollars. Is it 10 to 20,000, 50 to 100, whatever, top 10 items. And then what that translates to in terms of a millage benefit. Because it's hard to quantify just the value of the dollars unless I can correlate it to the millage benefit. So that's it. Like I said, I'm house rich, cash poor. These numbers are whelming when you look at the size of the debt. And I don't know if you roll this over like a credit card, you know, where you pay it down and you borrow it out and you pay it down and you borrow it out. I'd like to see if this thing ever comes to fruition, because it's great that we have a beautiful school like this. Kids are great, no doubt about it. I have no angst about the kids. It's just the money is overwhelming. And back in the day, before Rick, can't think of the governor's name, eliminated the senior tax credit, the Republican legislature brought the base down, so I can't qualify anymore, you know? So I'm between a catch-22, right. And there are no advocates for seniors like us, and hopefully your legislative committee will take a look at this and maybe see if they can do something to help seniors.
Thank
you for
Thank you
your
very
time.
much. Thank you. And Dr. Slough, I'll turn that over to you.
Yep. So I would just let you know, Joseph, what was your last name again?
Ramarsig. Hard to spell, easy to deal with.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Ramarsig.
Former bean counter.
So that gentleman right there, Mr. Jeffrey Van Gotham, he's waving at you. He's our Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, and he has answers to every one of those questions you just asked.
Okay, if you could provide that in a written form, you can mail it to me at your convenience. 4945 Waywood, Commerce Township, 48382.
Let him give you a call first and just
Sure.
make sure he has a very clear understanding regarding everything that you're
Well, like I said,
looking
I just want to understand. I know
Yep,
I know a little bit
absolutely.
about sinking funds, but I don't
Sure.
profess to be an expert.
Yep.
So I wanted to get it, like I said, it's a huge number for me. 35% of my tax bill, $2,400, and I haven't had kids in school, you know, for 40-some years. You can tell by the gray hair.
completely understand. We will be in touch with you and get you answers
All
to
right.
your questions.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your courtesy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have before us the consent agenda. We only have one exhibit, Exhibit A. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion made by Member Dodd, seconded by Member Ryan. May I have a roll call, please?
Miss Dodd,
Yes.
Miss Ryan,
Yes.
Miss Cotter.
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Dimick,
Yes.
Miss Grisomkowski,
Yes.
and Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business, superintendent's proposed goals, Exhibit B. Dr. Salah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. During our last board meeting, I had an opportunity to do a presentation for our Board of Education regarding my proposed goals. And as is customary with any action item we present to the board, there is an opportunity for any questions that might be asked of the board. We did have some brief conversations during the executive committee. I had some feedback there, made a few minor modifications at that time. Since our last board meeting, I've not had any additional questions, so I would ask for board approval of the superintendent's goals as presented.
Is there any further questions or comments as it relates to the superintendent's goals? As Dr. Salah mentioned, we've had them, we've reviewed them. Member Dodd.
I mentioned this during our executive committee meeting, but I continue to be very happy with the way the goals are built upon each other year after year. It's not as if goals are done, we move them to the side, we start on new goals. When I first started on the board back in, 2019, I think, I was introduced to a very new thing to the district, the stair-step model of how we're going to go through and try things. And right now we're just on step number 1. And in this goal process, I've seen every year as we move very slowly and methodically up these stairs to be a more comprehensive and district focused on making sure that our educators are brought along with you. So I appreciate it, and I know these goals build on these goals, and they all come from the strategic plan, and it is very clear, very concise, and no surprises. So thank you for excellent continued goals.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Member Cotter.
Yes, and I want to thank Heather. I was going through my documents, and it's like I wanted to review your goals for tonight, and she did refresh them or sent them to me. But there's one thing about the goals that I particularly enjoy because they're so well organized. And what I think I need the people to understand that these are your goals, and you share them with your COAT team, who then share them with our administration, and the administration then shares them with the classroom teachers. And it's from the top down, everybody's working on the same thing. And I think that particular organization brings success to each one of them. And I just think that's very important. So good job.
Any other comments? I too want to say thank you. The fact that these goals are something that are aligned, that are strategic in nature. Not only do we have opportunities, but it's obvious that the goals continue to be well thought out. As Member Dodd said, the whole stair-step model is really based on us being able to have some consistency as it relates to our superintendent, and it's a building block. And I think it's also important to really note that while you've built these goals, they're really based on the strategic plan. And the strategic plan was implemented and voted on by the Board of Education, but really required and really was open to our community to provide a lot of input. So while the goals are yours and we evaluate and we work through those goals, they're really focused on community input and what's best for our students. So congratulations and thank you. If there isn't any other comments, I need to have I don't believe we have had a motion yet, have we? No. Could I have a motion to approve the superintendent's goals?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I approve that the Board of Education approve the superintendent goals as presented.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion made by Member Pastana, seconded by Member Ryan. We've already had some discussion, so let's have a roll call, please.
All right, I am a yes. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Cotter?
Yes.
Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Dimick?
Yes.
Ms. Grzymkowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Water line agreement, Highland Township. I know that we've had a number of questions over the last few weeks. It has been presented once. I'll turn it over to Dr. Salah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Van Gotham and I will tag team this one. You did receive a updated 3-boxer regarding this specific agenda item. Before I ask Mr. Van Gotham to speak to that updated 3-boxer, I just want to provide a little bit of history on this particular agenda item. This is something that the district was approached about, I think, just over 5 years ago by a local business owner who owns the property at the corner of Johns and 59. And the interest of that business owner is to develop the property that currently sits there. Many of you probably know it as an eyesore. It's the old T-Mobile store and the barn-like looking structure that sits there at the corner of 59 and Johns. So where does Huron Valley Schools fit in that? We were approached about a possibility of a partnership, and the partnership basically works in this way, that in exchange for a small parcel of the old Highland Middle School property, where we would allow a septic field to be placed in the corner, the northeast corner of that property. In exchange for that, the district would receive township water that would run to our Highland Elementary building. And for those of you that have been around a little while, you know that we've had challenges in many of our locations because we're on well and we're on septic in many of our buildings. We were able to correct that issue on this campus by partnering with White Lake Township, and we have an opportunity to work with this business developer, Highland Township. In exchange for a septic field, they will run a water line to our Highland Elementary School, and I'll take us out of the water business and allow them to maintain most of the testing and run water to our building. So we've had a lot of really great conversations during a variety of subcommittee meetings. We've had discussions during our executive committee meeting. We've had discussions during our finance and operations meeting. We've had a number of really good questions by our Board of Education. And so one of the questions that we built into this revised 3-boxer that you have in front of you, which I'm going to ask Mr. Van Gotham to speak to, relates to a question that was raised by our board. So we are asking for your approval this evening with this edit. And we will not move forward unless the edit is reflected in the updated final version of the contract. We did not ask the attorneys to spend money on revising the agreement because we didn't want to spend money unless we know that we are approved to move forward on this particular project. So Mr. Van Gotham, would you mind speaking to the updates to the 3-boxer this evening?
Yeah, happy to, Dr. Salah. So you've already had the agreement in front of you. I think it was brought under new business in our August, last meeting in August before we went back to school. We actually did not bring it to the last 2 board meetings as we were kind of answering questions from the board and getting feedback on the agreement as it stood. As the agreement stands right now, the deal would be that we would get our water line. They would have a small parcel of that section to set up a septic. They were going to provide us with $15,000 that we could put in escrow so that if and when they remove their septic field, we would have some dollars to work with in removal of that. The board had concerns about that being enough of an amount, independent of when they do remove said field. So we went back to the owner and said that we really wanted $25,000 in escrow, and if there's any money above and beyond that $25,000 that we can put in an investment and let it grow, that they will make up the difference and pay for all of the septic removal if and when that does occur. So I got an email again just this afternoon that said that the lawyer representing the owner was amenable to that, and they want to be able to do this deal with the district. So we're waiting on final approval of that, but I'm confident that one of those things that hung out there is, you know, we don't want to pay for the septic field if and when they do get rid of it. And they're also indemnifying us, so we don't, as a district, can't indemnify companies, but they can indemnify us. So basically, if there was some environmental challenge with the septic field, because again, that happens sometimes, they would also be held responsible for that. So it wouldn't be a district expense, even if there was something that may or may not happen. So I feel very comfortable based on the agreement we have in place. I'm even more confident that they're going to be amenable to the terms that we asked of them. And then there was several other questions that I appreciate Dr. Salah had put in board notes and LMT notes over the last several weeks to address the questions that the board members had. So that's the small tweak. We don't have that updated agreement, but I'm in agreement with Dr. Salah that, you know, at the rates that our attorneys charge, we want to make sure that we're moving forward with this before we spend additional dollars of the districts to get this completed.
Okay, thank you very much. What I'd like to do is go ahead and get a motion and a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Do I have a recommendation?
I'll make the motion that we approve the waterline agreement with Highland Township.
And do I have a second?
I'd like to support that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'd like to open it up to discussion. Anyone have any questions or any items that they would like to discuss? Yes, Member Pistana.
Yeah, so I know I've asked a lot of questions and had some lots of comments, but I actually have a statement that I want to read that I've been thinking about for a long time when we've been talking about this easement. So the board members sitting here wear many hats. We all bring different perspectives to the questions and problems that come before us. And because we just don't listen only to our administration, we will take extra time and research to help us arrive at our decisions. I personally am fortunate enough to have been recruited to the Huron Valley Community Coalition and at its inception. Currently, I'm the board president of this organization, and with that role comes its own responsibilities. So let me make this perfectly clear. I always want what's best for our students. That includes good, clean drinking water at all of our buildings, obviously including Highland Elementary. So this is a question about granting an easement so that a large-scale gas station with all its amenities can be built across the street from Highland Elementary. And it's not just a black and white decision. This business will most likely sell alcohol, tobacco, and vaping products. There are very few places like this one proposed that doesn't sell these items. It's normal in this type of business. The coalition has concerns about this proposal being so close to Highland Elementary. The more images and use that youth see, it will normalize the behavior and culture of use, which can lead to students using more. I have data and research that bears this out. So if anybody wants to contact myself or Jordan at the coalition, feel free. The second issue is compliance by the store. Historically, in our own area, there are gas stations and shops that sell products to minors, especially the vape devices. They have poor compliance when it comes to checking ID. The coalition currently works with law enforcement to do checks, but consequences are light and primarily only impact the clerk that is selling, not the business owner. There are currently 16 retailers that sell vape devices. Do we really need another? And especially so close to an elementary school. Our administration team has done their due diligence, but I have no way of knowing as a board member if this business will be a good corporate citizen. I'm concerned about having this business so close to a school, and it's not just elementary students I'm worried about. It's also another easy access for our high school students. When we are working so hard on keeping alcohol, tobacco, and vaping devices out of the hands of our kids, why would we welcome a business that will be selling to them with open arms? I would encourage parents and community members to voice your concerns to the township on granting this business a liquor and tobacco license. And let's work together to make our community safer for all our students. So for all of these reasons, I am voting no on this agenda item tonight.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else have any comments? Yes, Amy?
I've had several conversations with different board members regarding this particular situation. I understand where Secretary Pistana is coming from. As a parent of a high schooler, drugs and alcohol, vaping, these are significant issues. As someone who works next to Highland Elementary, I will tell you the water situation is also near and dear to my heart. I have made my comments known in our finance and operations that we have to have water in Highland. We live in a rural community. When you live in a rural community, you have wells. And sometimes wells they're not great. That's just the way it is. Having water come to that campus is really significant, and it's a significant investment. We're hearing upwards to $500,000, perhaps even $1 million, for us to tie in to Highlands water. The water is really important to me. It's really important that our kids are drinking water. I know we have filtration systems, I know all of that, but right now I think we're on bottled water there. And if that's the case, then I feel like this is an opportunity for us that we have to address. And for me, it's a yes because of the water. But I do think there's an opportunity for us to work with this business owner to create a relationship so that we can talk to them about being good stewards of the area that they are in. I think there's a possibility for the coalition, for the district, and for Highland L to work with this particular gas station to provide some education even. There's an opportunity there. Will it work? I don't know. I would hope they would be good stewards of the area that they're in. I would hope they would have corporate responsibility. And I think that in creating a relationship with them, we have the opportunity to mold that relationship. And I personally would like to see this happen because I want water at Highland. I think it's really important.
Any other comments? Yes, Lindsay.
Yes, first I'd like to say I appreciate the comments made by both of my board members. They truly did their homework and they come from the heart. I too would like to make the comment because I am a big supporter of our coalition. Likewise, I'm a supporter of good, clean water. I'm speaking from my experience of my 16 years I did spend at Highland Elementary, and the water has always been a problem, even with the systems that were in place. I do believe that I can remember in the teacher's lounge area where we had a coffee maker, we'd take up a collection every 2 months to buy a new one because it would the water would kill the coffee machine. But that's one thing. Then we're talking about clean, fresh water for our students. The other thing that I like this deal because we get the water and they have to take care of it, so to speak. And I think it's a win-win. But you have to look further regarding an old coffee pot getting burned out, that at the time when we talk about plumbing repairs that have to be made to that building by our staff continually, I did learn what a Sloan valve was. But I think we need to be conscious of the water within the plumbing also, because we upgrade and plumbing's very expensive. And I think with fresh, clean water, we would improve that. So for that reason, I will support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Grisomkowski,
Yes.
Ms. Cotter,
I'm a yes.
I'm a no. Mr. Dimick,
Yes.
Ms. Dodd,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Title IX Board Policy Recommendation. Dr. Salah.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is another item that we are asking the board to take action on this evening. Last board meeting, I did share a proposed Title IX policy, and I think this is important because I think a lot of people do not fully understand the complexities of Title IX. I think oftentimes when people think of Title IX, they go right to that definition regarding sex. And I think what's really important in the changes to these Title IX regulations is that is probably the smallest aspect of these regulations that have been put forward by the federal government. Title IX was originally passed in 1972 and has had several revisions over the course of its history. Recently, we brought in actually our legal counsel to assist us because these new regulations that were passed went into effect on August 1st. Whether we have a policy or not, they are considered the law of the land. So I just want to be really clear that these policies have nothing to do with teaching sexual orientation, gender identity, or anything related to political ideology within our schools. That is not, from my perspective as superintendent, that is not our role as a school district. You've heard me say this over and over again. Our responsibility is to teach the Michigan State standards and ensure that all students are safe and taken care of so that they can grow and learn in our educational environment. Title IX doesn't change that in any way, shape, or form. It does speak to specifically how an individual can file a sexual discrimination complaint that we are by law required to follow. So I just want to provide some of that context for our listening audience out there, because a lot of people hear Title IX and they think one thing, and it's not necessarily that. And so I will read this policy that we're asking the board to adopt. I read it the last time we met. I will read it again. The policy is non-discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs or activities. The Board of Education, as a recipient of federal funding, is committed to maintaining an education and work environment that is free from sex discrimination in its education program and activities. The board shall not, on the basis of sex, exclude any person from participation in, deny the benefits of, or subject to discrimination under its education program or activities. The superintendent will develop administrative guidelines to implement this policy. So we are asking the board to adopt that specific language this evening as our Title IX policy. I think it's also important to note we will be required to carry 2 Title IX policies. There is a Title IX policy that is in your board policy for anything that occurred prior to 2020. If there is a Title IX complaint that transpired between, I should say after 2020, from 2020 to August 1, 2024, when this took effect, that Title IX complaint falls under those guidelines, rules, and federal guidance and that policy. Anything after said date of 2024 falls under the new regulations that have been outlined by the federal government. And it is complicated, and we have to work with our legal counsel anytime a question arises. So please just know that we will tread carefully with any issues that arise to make sure that we follow the law and do these things appropriately.
Do I have a motion to accept this
I'll
recommendation?
Make a motion to accept this recommendation as presented.
And do I have a second?
I'll support that.
All right, motion made by Member Dodd, seconded by Member Cotter. I'll open it up for discussion at this time. Yes, Member Dodd.
So I just want to point out, I appreciate Dr. Salah for going over that in detail. I think there is a lot of confusion about this. I real quick pulled up our active board policies that can be found on our website, and there is a lovely search function. In that function, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 board policies that include information related to Title IX. So this is a big part of our world, and this policy is just one section of that. So this isn't the all-encompassing Title IX policy, it's just one section of the Title IX policy. If anybody is interested in reading the complete policies, there's 13 Title IX policies on our website.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Jacob?
So how would this policy differentiate from where we're at right now in terms of it's going to allow the policy to be directed by the administration versus the board? And if that's the case, that seems like it would be counterintuitive to what the board does.
So the responsibility of the board is to enact policy that complies with the law. The responsibility of the administration is to ensure that we execute the day-to-day operation of the law.
So would we say that we're not doing this now, or how would this help us do that better than what we're doing now?
No, we are doing that now. It's based on the 2020 regulations. And there has been, as I said, there has been an update to the Title IX regulations with the 2024, and the new law took effect on August 1st. So with or without a policy, Mr. Dimick, we have to follow the regulations. But you as a board are required to adopt a policy that is compliant with the law. It's not even
No, I see what you're
really
saying.
an administrative request as it is the law.
Right. So as this has been rolled out throughout the state, how many would you say schools have already adopted policies, and how many have decided to wait as the federal government is in the process of regurgitating all this information and figuring out what they actually want to do because there's so much infighting? I mean, are we jumping the gun trying to get ahead of it when nobody else is really doing it, and what's the benefit to us?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the number of districts that have adopted the new regulations. I would say probably the vast majority in the conversations I've had with my colleagues. For those of you who are unaware, Mr. Dimick is referring to a court injunction that names a stay on the 2024 regulations, and it specifically lists schools where there's a stay. We actually have 3 schools in the district that are on that list: Lakeland High School, Milford High School, and Muir Middle School, where technically, and this is what I meant by we have to work with our legal counsel on these specific instances, depending on the context and when it occurred, would dictate which regulations we follow. But what further complicates the question, Mr. Dimick, is not only do we have federal regulations, we also have the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, which is Michigan law, which also aligns with the 2024 Title IX regulations. So whether we have the injunction or not, our legal counsel is telling us that even with schools listed, you still have to follow the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. So, which further complicates,
So if we have the Elliott Rights Larson Act, would that, and state rights trump in federal, wouldn't we just, if they're the same thing, why do we need a separate policy to do the same thing, I guess, is where I go with that.
Because the law requires it.
So.
Crazy. Yeah. Yes, Ms. Cotter.
I was just going to say that I'm okay with and will support the policy as presented tonight because it basically says that we will not discriminate against. Talks nothing about instruction or classroom activities regarding. It's just that we have to, with Title IX, be protective that there's no discrimination against individuals, actually for a number of reasons. So I will support that tonight.
You'll notice that the language is incredibly broad on purpose to give maximum flexibility in terms of implementation and working through the context of each
Correct.
situation.
Any other comments? Yes, Amy?
The federal and state government have put us in an untenable situation. That's really what's happening here. I was born in 1971, 1 year prior to Title IX. So my whole life has been under Title IX. Middle school, high school, college, opportunities, all of it. I now have a 14-year-old who is not protected under Title IX anymore. It sickens me. It makes me angry. It makes me very angry. I'm also angry over the fact that we are changing how we have due process for Title IX. It's important that we have due process. That is the country that we live in. You are innocent until proven guilty. Sometimes that works in our favor. Sometimes it doesn't. But that is what our country was founded on. Title IX, with the changes that are being made, have taken that away. We are putting together a policy that is broad, and I appreciate that. This is a slippery slope, though, because we have other policy that is going to be informed on how we address complaints. That will have to change. We're not addressing that tonight because Title IX is changing how we address complaints. We looked at this from a legal lens. Quite frankly, I've thought about it from a personal lens. As a woman, I've thought about this. And so there's a lot that is going to go into Title IX. My big concern, though, is that we are not going to be able to fully give our students the opportunities that they deserve. Elliot Larson also covers religion. Elliot Larson also covers weight. But if I have a situation where my religion or my weight, let's say, are in conflict, how do we handle that? Whose rights trump whose? Because that's what it's going to come down to. And that is concerning to me. That is very concerning to me. I understand what we're trying to do here with this policy, but it's a slippery slope. We're trying to appease, we're trying to appease a government who has put us in a situation that is not reasonable. It's not even logical. This will not be the only thing that we have to change. This is the tip of the iceberg. Everything that we do will change because of Title IX. I mean, Miss Cotter tells stories about her kindergarten classes, and I love hearing those stories. And she can tell you, as somebody who's been teaching for a while, I say that generously, she can tell you what it was like prior to Title IX. It was different. It will be different after this change. And I don't know that it will be for the good.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else? I appreciate the board's comments as it relates to this. Obviously, it's very complex. It's something that's certainly not going to go away, and we're going to be talking about it as a leadership team and as a team of 8 at all of our committees and at our Board of Education. So I appreciate these comments, concerns, and I don't disagree with any of those comments. Seeing no more comments as it relates to this, we already have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Grisomkowski.
No.
Ms. Ryan.
Also a no.
Mr. Dimick.
No.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, that's the end of the unfinished business after this discussion. Oakland County School Board Association proposed bylaw changes, Exhibit E. I sent to you, I think today, explanation as relates to this bylaw change that was provided to me from Oakland Schools. The gist of it is we have a person that's on the Oakland School Board Association, our group that we meet on a regular basis, who's on our board of directors. This person is also on the West Bloomfield board. She has chosen not to run for the school board, but in the meantime, she's been elected to the Oakland Schools School Board. So right now, there's not an issue because she still is on the Oakland County School Board Association Board of Directors representing West Bloomfield Schools. But when her term expires on 12/31/2024, she will now be not on the West Bloomfield Board, but she will continue to be on the Oakland Schools Board. Right now, our organization already has a representative on the Oakland County School Board Association's Board of Directors, Mark Ziegler. Mark, what's Mark's last name?
Katz.
Katz, excuse me, Mark Katz. Mark Katz. Carol is also on there. Because both of them are on the Oakland County School Board Association, there would be two from one school board, which is not in compliance with their bylaws. This is something that rarely happens. So they're asking a bylaw change until 12/31/2026. So that would allow those two people to be on the Oakland County School Board Association's Board of Directors. Okay? Instead of one, they're going to have two. And then at that point in time, when that term ends, they'll go back to one. They'll go back to one. So that's what this bylaw change is. That's all it is. And it has to be voted on by each school district in Oakland County by October 31st. So that's the information. That's the information I provided to you. She continues to be on the board. I think I misspoke when I said she had resigned. She still is on the West Bloomfield School Board until her term expires on 12/31/2024. At that point in time, the bylaw is in violation unless we change this. So each school board has a vote. We'll take this, I'll bring this to you for a vote at our next board meeting because it needs to be submitted by October 31st to be valid. If you have any questions or any clarifications that you need, I'm available to answer those or to get the information for you. But that's it in a nutshell. Okay? Next is food and nutrition service equipment purchase and also food and nutrition service digital menu display purchases, Exhibit F and G. I'm going to turn them over to Dr. Slot, both of those.
Thank you, and I'll ask Mr. Van Gotham to speak to these two.
Yeah, so I think Mrs. Grisomkowski did a very good job in our F&O committee minutes discussing what we're asking the board to vote on in 2 weeks. I don't know that I can add any value to you. Essentially, we had equipment that we were going to use, the 2019 bond and or BSSF that was, ready to be replaced, and so we're fortunate that we had an excess food service fund balance as a result of not only free meals for a while, but the quantity of meals that we were able to produce, not even for our Huron Valley School District, but also for the community. If you recall, we did several 100,000 extra meals to help our community because we were one of the active districts who were providing meals to the region when we were shut down in COVID. So that has allowed us to purchase some equipment that would have normally come from bond or sinking fund, and also these digital menu display boards. Again, maybe one of the questions might be, are other districts doing this? And yes, a lot of districts have these visual display boards that just highlight the menus, and we're starting at the high schools and may move down to middle schools and elementary at some point, but we want to start with the high schools, which have the most variety at this point in time of food. And so, like I said, Mrs. Grzymkowski did a bang-up job on both of those, so I don't have a lot more to add this evening.
This is under new business, and with that, if you have any questions over the next couple of weeks, we can ask Jeffrey, or we can go right to Amy, because Amy has all the questions. Yes?
Quick question right now.
Yeah,
Just
go ahead.
with the food service, like, for example, the digital menu display, was that money we're spending because we have to spend money and we're confined to what we can spend it on?
So we have a lot of different options with what we're able to do with our excess food service balance. This is something that the food service department has wanted for a while. While it might not have been a part of the 2019 bond per se, it's something that's come up within the last 4 or 5 years since we even discussed the bond. And the administration, the co-team, the superintendent were supportive of food service going in this direction. But we've also used it for a lot of different things. We were able to buy a freezer last year, if you recall, in the summertime that was done over the work, and we've been able to give all of our staff additional compensation as a result of that food service. So it's primarily been spent on people, but where we have an opportunity to spend it on equipment that we might have had in our bond program or not normally been able to afford, that's the beauty of having that excess fund balance. So I think we're using it in a very practical manner, if you will.
Yes, Amy?
And Jeffrey, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a plan for that spend down. We have to have a plan. The state has asked us to put a plan together for that spend down and the excess food service. That's correct?
So we had a 23-24 spend down that we met the dollar amounts that we needed to do to satisfy that. As a result of having free meals last year, we were able to add to our excess food service fund balance because they don't want you to carry too much of a food balance. And so we're just keeping that plan going and things that we know we need to do. We have continued, obviously the wages were staying the same, so we can use some dollars for that. And then looking at priorities, it's a good point that Mr. Dimick made, looking at priorities within our food service, but these visual display boards are something that a lot of districts have and are putting into buildings, and we're just trying to, as we've done with a lot of the things in the bond, trying to catch up to, other school districts and other similarly sized places.
Yes, Amy?
And just for clarification, we cannot spend this money on, I don't know, Dr. Salah's salary or a new Porsche, something like that.
Funny enough, Porsche's yes. Dr. Slot's salary, no. No, it can only be spent on categories that are specifically within the 200s of the food service, which is a special revenue fund. It cannot be spent on general fund projects or capital projects or anything like that.
Any other comments? Great questions, Amy. Because the whole food service, we have a variety of different funds, and the general fund is where 85% goes to salaries for what's going on in the classroom, paying for all the things that we do to provide services to our students. The food service account can only be used for food service items, and we're very fortunate that unlike many districts, we have never privatized our food service. They are our employees, and at the same time, we have a situation where we have a fund balance, meaning they're operating on a profit, but we realized additional dollars, so we have to go through this spend down program. So not only are they paying their bills, they're actually able to expand. And I think the other thing that needs to be reiterated is many of these pieces of equipment that we were talking about, we had within the 2019 bond issue, but because of the dollars that we have available, we're able to take it out of the bond issue, use these dollars, which then frees up the bond issue dollars for other types of projects. So I think that's important to note. Jacob, you had something else.
I was just going to say, the reason I even asked is because to me, $25,000 sounds like a lot for some digital displays that show you what you can eat daily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a lot of methods of communication, so to me, $25,000, that just sounds a
Sure.
little.
Okay. Well, this is new business. We have a couple more weeks as questions arise. with your permission, Dr. Slough, we'll
Yeah.
shoot them over to Jeffrey and go from there. So, all right. Muir Middle School temperature controls, Exhibit H.
Thank you. And Mr. Mangolth, I might ask you to speak to this one as well.
So again, Mrs. Grisomkowski kind of nailed it out of the park with her description of what's happening here. But essentially, typically with a purchase like this, we would go out for bid. However, because Muir is not a part of the future plans with respect to our redistricting in the middle schools, we want to be able to service that community and provide them with adequate temperature control. We would like to just update the existing platform, which is a train platform, which is a single source. And so in doing so, we took a quote from them, and essentially this will keep that staff and students comfortable for the next several years. It could be 4 or 5 years, however long it takes till, we continue to move forward with our redistricting plan. And we think it's really important because we made it a promise to that community that as we were making some of these decisions with Strategic Plan 2.0, that we would keep that building in good running order, and this is something that's really necessary for us to do that. It's reached end of life. Most of these buildings that we've been able to, renovate or upgrade over the last several years have had temperature controls as a part of it. We've probably spent close to between 750 and $1 million in temperature controls throughout the district. We will be bringing to the board Oak Valley Middle School, which will still be operating as a center for a couple different programs in the future. But for this one with Muir Middle School, we want to stay with the existing temperature controls and merely provide an upgrade so that we can regulate the temperature for the staff and students and make them comfortable while we are still operating Muir Middle School.
Once again, new business. We have a couple weeks. If you have any questions, I know we've had that opportunity to have some further discussion within finance and operations. Amy?
I will also say we had a lot of discussion about, we knew that we were going to put some funds into Muir in order to get it to the place where, until we get the new building. And so this was part and parcel of that, and that is coming out of the 2019 bond. So as we go forward, we have a couple of other projects in Muir. Don't be surprised when we bring them to the board, because we need to make sure that building is still operational and comfortable for the students that are there for the next few years.
Great. Thank you. I do not have any other public comments. Are there any public comments on non-action items? Seeing none, good and welfare. Yes, Laura?
I would like to thank the Brownies troop at Kurtz Elementary for inviting me to come to their Brownies meeting today. They're working on their democracy badge, and we talked a lot. Actually, they taught me a whole lot of stuff. They're some smart Brownies, but it was wonderful. And they started their badge today, and they got to vote on some very important topics for their upcoming camp out. Very important. So they learned how to do that, and about secret ballots and about decision making and all that sort of stuff. It was a lot of fun, and it's great to see these. This was a group of second, third, and fourth graders, so smart, so passionate. These young women, future leaders, learning about democracy in action. So I think their next meeting, they're going to actually go over to the Milford clerk, and she's going to show them around.
Great.
Actually let them see some real live ballots. So pretty exciting, and congratulations to the leaders and the girls at Kurtz and the Brownies troop. They are good, confident in the future of our country, seeing these young folks learn.
Great. Thank you. Any other good and welfare? Yes, Denise?
I just wanted to report that District Parent Council met on the 23rd, hosted by Mr. Tavernier. And it was a good group. Lots of people either zoomed in or were there, and lots of good discussions. So we are continuing to speak to that group, and they are the movers and shakers that will get the information out. So I appreciate them taking the time.
Great. Yes, Amy?
Sorry, a lot of talking tonight. I apologize, but I do want to wish all of our athletic teams good luck. Districts are coming up, regionals are coming up, states are coming up, and whether you are at Milford or you are at Lakeland, Oak Valley or Muir or White Lake, we've got a lot of competitions coming up, and we just wish you the best.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Lindsay?
Real quickly, I went out to lunch yesterday and I had soup for lunch. Community Sharing sponsored its annual project, Empty Bowl Project, and it was attended by a number of people from Huron Valley and from our community. It was a real success. I'm sure it was a good fundraiser, and the soup was delicious.
What kind?
I did it this year. I got them all in.
Oh, did you really?
I did. I started at one end, and I said, just a little. Yeah, I got them all in.
Did you get your name on the wall or anything?
Well, no, but I did taste all the soups.
When's the next time you're going to have soup then?
Yeah, I keep soup in the freezer. It's a
Oh, yeah?
regular meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Little too much information, I guess. Anything else? I just have a couple things real quick. This week, we had fun runs all around our elementary schools, and they ran, and they ran, and they ran, and they made me very tired just watching them. And I'm glad that I didn't have to run. I just stood in one place and watched them. But they did a great job, and they had a lot of fun doing that. The other thing that I do want to do as a reminder is up on the wall we have board standards. And they're not only board standards as it relates to how we operate as a board, but expectations and standards as how we operate individually. We also have spent a lot of time as a board, one of our goals is board procedures. And it's really a primer as it relates to how we do things and how we operate. At our board study session, we provided this to all of us. So please take a look at this because we want to really finalize this because it really, I thank Jacob and Michelle and Amy, all the newbies on the board because it really helped going through these procedures and for us to really go through it so that we have it in front of us. And it helps all of us because it really references, oh, what do I do when a situation like this arises? And yes, this is what we do, but then it's attached to a policy because we spend a lot of time as related to going over policies, and policies are real, and it's really the framework that we follow. Under Good and Welfare, Dr. Slot, do you have anything tonight? Okay. With that, the meeting is adjourned.